Salutations, Utopians. Hope all is well in your world. So, there was some interesting news over the week about ESPN and the presentation moving forward. Doris Burke was demoted to second chair, second unit. Tim Legler gets the call up. During the finals, he was already on the backup unit with ESPN. I listened to both of them actually, and obviously, there were some questionable moments during that broadcast. Um, First off, I want to begin with they have a very difficult job. Um, People I see calling for Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson when they were in the booth, they used to beg for them to leave. So, you got to realize people, and this kind of fits into the culture that I want to talk about, the banger hunting culture on social media. Unfortunately, the algorithm rewards people when they criticize. It gets the most shock value when you say someone's not doing their job. And so, uh, when people can see they can get views like that, they say certain things. And if you don't have the right people, uh, influencers at the top, brain trust, to be able to navigate or differentiate through constructive criticism and simply troll talk, you could be making a mistake. Um, with that being said, I think it started for Doris when she made the comments about Shea Gilgis being a free throw merchant. I think she forgot that Shea is not American. He's a Canadian. And that is a big market with major support from people of many different cultures. And so he has a different type of support system. Not to mention he won the MVP. And so he had the underdog story because he should have got it the year before. He got snubbed. And there was concerns if he was going to get it or not. And so that comment about the free throw merchant, I think, really set fire to not only what's the word I want to use? I'm losing the word I want to actually use. It just basically gave voice to a demographic that didn't deserve to be acknowledged based on the prestige of where she sits. And there was a lot of that. I made a comment one time. The ESPN, definitely their broadcasters are paying attention to the timeline. There were some things I pointed out even that I thought, whoa, this was very specific things that I was pointing out. And they were asking the questions at halftime and stuff like that. Certain type of sets offensively. And it was being, so I'm watching it unfold, and I can't help but where I'm going with all this is it's fascinating, the paradigm shift of the politics of sports and media. Similar kind of situation is going on. Candace Parker, jersey retirement in Chicago, already earlier this year had it done in Los Angeles. Weeks leading up to the retirement ceremony, because she's from Chicago. Wasn't the best version of herself in there, but she did win a championship. She's from Chicago. It's understandable. Season's been rough. Let's give the fans some nostalgia, something to distract them from another abysmal season, especially when you terminated a legend in their first season of coaching the team, which we now see was not a coach. Let's just say coaching wasn't the first problem. I'm sure philosophically there was issues between front office and head coaching, and ironically, the WNBA, more than any sport, if the head coach and the GM are not on the same page, it's going to show, because the players have all relatively similar athletic profiles. So if philosophically you're not on the same page, it's gonna bleed on the screen, and for lack of a better term. But that tension. And just there's been so many instances where you're seeing now that players, if they don't like you, it's going to be problematic. If you speak wrong on a player, it can be problematic. Time and time again, we're seeing this now. LeBron with the player empowerment movement, being their own media sources now. Guys making their own podcasts. Paul George, Draymond, the rookie from Philadelphia, McCain, Jalen Brunson. Guys are taking their time and making their own narratives now if they don't like how you're doing things, and revealing intimate information with the player before they go to a media source. And so it's something to really think about. And I made a video earlier, and I meant that one from the heart when I was talking about picking your path when you get into this world. And I'm not even in it. I'm just a guy just, narrating from afar. Even though I don't quite, let's just leave it at that. This was a summer of a lot of muting of voices. Let's just say that. A lot of insiders who don't have a lot of insight. A lot of muting of people who are surface level with their breakdowns of the sport of basketball. A lot of people who are here because of ego, but not because of talent. Can't tell you how many times I get a DM, someone saying, "Hey man, could you engage my article?" And you'll just be like, you didn't really say much to engage. You know what I mean? I'm not going to. I'm off the reporting on rumors and talking about rumors all the time. There's too much real stuff going on. There's too many real accomplishments happening for speculation. Oh, this player might go here, this player might go there. I'm not into that. So I'm watching this unfold, and it really is important that people, because Candace, with that situation, before that, she was on Jalen Brunson when she was still on TNT all the time. She was on a good run with TNT. She started making this kryptonite takes, like Skip did with LeBron about Jalen Brunson, and after a point it got like, I think it was like 2 years ago, after a certain point it was like, all right, we get it, you're not a fan, let's move on. The problem is she's just doing her job, but knowing the fine line, right? And so it's just getting tricky now, to figure out. I'm just giving my thoughts on, hearing about this demotion, because she's a pioneer. She's not a DEI hire. Now, there are some that are like, I don't know how you got there, but whatever. Especially after, the Joy Taylor debacle. You start wondering and side-eyeing, all right, so who else is, what's going on, right? And so it's just, you just really, it is getting like that. And I don't know about me, where I stand, because I've had some very harsh opinions, but I've proven to be prophetic on more times than not. Like I said, I've been doing this since AOL dial-up. So anything I say is strictly sports. It's never about anything personal or, favoritism. I just give it like it is. And, I don't know if players, you hear stories of, in the music business, people getting signed to labels and having to explain or go over certain tweets that they've made. And so, it's just crazy, because that's kind of where you are now. Like, you can say what you want. Freedom of speech, it just doesn't mean freedom of reach. And so, it's a tricky time. It's sad because these players don't understand, or these players got to understand that if they're not talking about you, that's where it's wrong. That's the industry you're in. That's the show business game you're in. But with all these sponsors and endorsement deals flying around, everyone's a walking brand, whether they subscribe to this concept or not. And so you're technically damaging the brand when you got something to say. That's not glorifying the player. And so I don't know how this is going to work in the latest installment of, it's too much stuff going on outside of the product, outside of the game, and it's hurting the sport. But Doris has definitely earned her seat. It's unfortunate to see that happen. Couple choice words, wasn't just that, it was the whole Rudy Gobert, Isaiah Hartenstein, Germany, France thing. Some say might have sealed it. It was a lot of things where it was just kind of like, all right, it's time for new blood. The problem is, I don't know how much new blood Tim Legler is, but he definitely knows ball, and we'll see if that's what the fans really want. Oh, we just want someone to talk sports. Oh, we say that. Oh, we want someone who really talks sports. But, you know, we'll see, because fans need something to complain about. We'll see how long this carries on. But Legs is definitely, he knows his stuff. If this is what the people say they want, I can't wait to see, because if not, how many more names you're going to run through? You know what I mean? So, it's fascinating to see how the merging of sports and media and where this thing is going in the future, because people are getting alienated because of just real opinions. What Candace said about Angel, you got to understand, she came up in an era full of gladiators. We just had Jessica Shepard on the Minnesota Lynx record the fastest triple-double in WNBA history. Does that make her remotely the best player to ever play? No. Does that put her in the Cynthia Cooper category? No, but she got a triple-double in 22 minutes. Every other day, somebody's moving up the franchise record for steals, assists, blocks. It's exhausting for me at this point. Oh, this person just climbed this record. I think 2-3 records got changed. Breanna Stewart tonight and Nneka Ogwumike moved up in their respective categories. I think Breanna Stewart in career steals with the, Nneka most points and now moves to second all time in points in a season in Seattle Storm history, or second all time in Seattle Storm history in points. Some crazy stat. So it's kind of like, for instance, Angel Reese, 5th all time in defensive rebounds. You can't get mad when a player like Candace, who's generationally gifted, but at the same time, it's like, you hurting my money though, you hurting my bag. How does this work? It's fascinating, you know what I mean? Nobody's right and nobody's wrong. I mean, nobody's completely right and nobody's completely wrong. But we're seeing people get punished on it, and it's ruining bonds and relationships when everyone's just trying to feed their family or build names for themselves. I guess the best thing you can do is just try to watch your words and do the best you can. Speaking of that, I'll try to do better next time, Utopians. Global out.